This is Anagalactic on Saturday, October 19th, 2024 from Chico. Today we're going to re-release a video that I produced in mid-July during the heat wave. And there is a split screen with a Libre Office document open to a panel that you'll see on this side of my face. And I'm sorry, I may look a little under the weather right now. I feel okay, but a little drained. It was an interesting night here last night. But all is well. The production for that day, July 15th, was on E equals mc squared, Einstein's famous equivalency formula for mass and energy on the speed of light squared, which is a constant that correlates these two very basic quantities. What you'll notice, I wish to point out what to look for in particular, although it should stand out. I treat this rather cavalierly because it had just come to me within the couple of days of release of this video. The correlation between energy and matter, we know, works because of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, as well as other experiments which were done both in the Soviet Union and in the United States beginning in the 1940s. So E equals mc squared is well understood to be a profound equation. Indeed, it follows Unziker's principle of reduction of fundamental constants to their simplest relations, which is also what I pursue. That's one reason why I will be reaching out to Alexander Unziker, but I don't want to be a pest because of course he's a very high-standing physicist and I'm pretty much at the other end of the spectrum, virtually unknown. I mean, actually unknown, except to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I do consider it to be massively profound now, and I wonder how much else that I produced this summer and last summer and the first summer, 2022, when apparently in the summer and autumn I do my most intensive work. In this case, the E equals mc squared video, which is less than half an hour long, was something that had just come to me, and so I produced a video so as to archive it. I was actually involved in so many other discovery vectors at that time that it just was kind of like not overload, but it had to be offloaded. So I had forgotten the tremendous insight which will now come to you, and I hope you can understand it at least as well as I believe that I do. This is a monumental validation of the usefulness of spherical geometry. Because of the geometry, not so much the mathematics, but they're directly related, as I'm sure you're aware from just basic education. The number line is virtually redundant. The number sphere will eventually come into vogue. I'm not sure I'll be around, but someone will eventually pick up on this. May it be you. You can steal this and run with it. I will not consider it theft. I got this directly from the universe. The only consultation I had with formal science is, of course, the same way anyone else would acquire the knowledge and understanding to make a discovery. This is just another in a sequence of ultimately profound insights due to the revelatory character of spherical geometry. And I will say spherical, but sometimes I say spheric. Those are obviously synonymous. So without further ado, now let's get into the video. That's less than 5 minutes of introductory material just to let you know what you're about to see, so you'll be aware of what to look for. I do have a lot of scientific pointers in how to do exponential notation, which I hope you also enjoy. It is a privilege to be able to express some principles which may help you in the long run simply by seeing how things can be done to more efficiently do mathematics. Mathematics can be quite overwhelming because of the way it has been developed following the Industrial Revolution, and mathematics had already become difficult by then. But with the introduction of the calculus, mathematics is now off limits to a layman. You have to devote your entire life to calculus if you're going to use it effectively. And the only reason to use calculus is to make money. You won't make any discoveries using calculus. Nobody's made any discoveries using the calculus system for quite a while, decades, in the area in which we cover. It's marvelous for technology. But I think you know, and this will close off our bracketing information, the technological arm of science is, of course, satanic now. There's just no way around it. It's not human beings who are in outer space. It's the government, and there's only one. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, I don't mean to be pessimistic in the outlook for this world, your future and the future of your children if you have any. It's almost over, and I think you know that that's a good thing. The Earth is a desperately crippled cur. Humans have poisoned the planet and have in fact already destroyed it. The Earth is dying. But its death will be hastened in a short amount of time. It's the time of the apocalypse. But what I wish to always append to that rather morbid observation that's forced upon a rational man is that the best game in town has not been abrogated. Nothing has gone off the rails. What you have to do in order to pursue the good side of science, you may hear the train in the background. That train blares its horn 24 hours a day, just constant traffic of trains going back and forth north and south here. So I apologize for that. I can't shut the door because of the heat, which has not subsided. It's merely in the low 90s now. Partially explaining my dreary appearance, I apologize. A presenter should always look his best, and a scientist must always be at his best. I'm a little under par right now, but cheerful. And I hope you're cheered by what every scientist really wants, is to gain direct insight into the universe to help you answer the questions you need to answer in your own life. That's the only purpose of science. Technology was meant to help the Earth, but governments are rapacious, and that's all we need to say there. May the great ineffable, invisible one of a billion names bless you with the insight you need to be pleasing to him and fulfill your true destiny. You'll be all right. Just make sure you stay away from this world system, because it will kill you. You're in hell, but you can get out. This is the right way. This is Anagalactic. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a very interesting time here at Anagalactic because we're transitioning to a predictable phase following a discovery phase. And my discovery has not been confirmed. That's just the way it is. You got to get your idea out there. Well, if you're not in the industry, there's no way to do that. In the industry, they have their own clique, their own cadre, they have their own argot. It's completely inaccessible to outsiders. They talk about this among themselves because they're trained to do so. In the same way, basically, you could say that brain surgeons, that's the lab cat, she's allowed in because I need some kind of love. There, she's going to her perch there. But E equals MC squared has grabbed the attention of everybody in the 20th century. How do you feel about that equation? Do you understand it? We're going to close on Einstein's famous equation, E equals MC squared, but in order to get it right, to get understanding, I will now be able to explain to you what E equals MC squared means so that you will never forget it. Let's take a look at this two-componency number system that I discovered. A rate is nonlinear. It is a two-component number, not a linear number. A rate is nonlinear. It is a two-component number, which is a proportion. A fraction relates two numbers, redefining each number as a component of one number. This does not evidently occur, that is, with addition, subtraction, or multiplication. We don't use any of those operators to compose a two-component number, although we're getting to squared numbers in a moment. Squared numbers are very interesting and are very important, certainly in terms of c², which is the conversion factor between mass and energy, is a squared number. You don't need the d on squared. It is a square number. A power of 2 number is that number as a square quantity. All right, so the nature of a fraction is to create one number out of two numbers. 1 over 2 relates 1 to 2 in a specific manner, which we call division. So let's read on. We continue to call this relation division because the division operator is used to relate the two linear numbers together into one number. Remember, that is a rate. You try to obtain a relation, either x proportion y or y proportion x. These are equivalent. E equals mc squared. These two terms are commutative. What is c squared? Well, it's c times c. Well, you can write that out. E equals ccm. Now, you could do something quite interesting. E over c equals cm. So light speed is on both sides of the equation when it's written in this form, but it doesn't seem to be too useful. And now we have c over 1 times mass. And now we have an interesting relationship. Multiply energy by the reciprocal of the speed of light. Technical mathematicians off. They don't really like the word unity because it sounds like sacred geometry. It is. So this number is light speed in relation to unity. This is the speed of light expressed in square space. That is c on the x-axis and c on the y-axis. Makes a squared number. Written in scientific notation, the coefficient is the square number for light speed. So what is light speed? 1 unit of time, when it's defined as the second, is equal to this meters. 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. And that's easy to figure out. So that's 9 with 16 zeros after that. 15 is 6 plus 9. Powers can be added. And this can be read out loud. C squared is equal to 90 million billion meters per second. So this is going to be 300 times e to the 6th. And you can read that directly. That is 300 million meters per second. C squared is not at all the same as c times c. Now you may object. That's exactly the definition of c squared. It's c times c. Well, yeah, but that's not arbitrary. That's based on an orthogonal relationship. That is a square number. That is a geometric number. C times c means you go c on the line c times. That's called multiplication. That's not what squaring means. Squaring means c goes this way on the x-axis and this way on the y-axis. And then you compute the volume of the square.
And so this is a square volume number. We have taken apart the square in order to put one side of the square, the x, in association with one of the quantities. And so this is c on the x-axis. This is c on the y-axis, because we just took apart the sides of a square number. All we did was disassemble this into cc and then moved this c so that it's related to energy, leaving this c related to mass. We then expanded these two terms so that this is now in relation to unity, and this is in relation to unity. And these are called reciprocal numbers, because this number and this number multiply to 1. You may be thinking ahead, you may be brilliant, you may get a lot out of that simple reconstruction, a change of set, a restatement of Einstein's equivalency formula. That on this side of the equation, the coefficient for energy is the reciprocal of the coefficient for mass. And the reciprocity is based on unity around light speed. So light speed must be understood. Here is how this breaks down. C has a specific definition. It's distance over time. That is a two-component number, and therefore we need a reduction. So now we need to reduce these two terms, don't we? We need the reciprocal of distance over time. That would be time over distance. Mass is spherical, energy is spherical. I'm showing you how to convert to spherical numbers. Energy is related to mass on a reciprocal relationship. The nature of spheric numbers is that every single spheric number is a reciprocal relationship. Mass is a spheric number. And we can say one more thing, which is the most important takeaway. Energy is orthogonal to space. Space is already linearized in 3D. That's the definition of 3D. It's the linearization of space. Linearized energy can be one of two things. Time, measured as frequency. That's a temporal term, not a spatial term. And wavelength. So that's the conclusion today. But what does this mean? It means we found where time is. Here it is. This is what Einstein equated with space, where time is 1D and space is 3D. That is the correct linear solution. So what is time? So how was Einstein able to introduce it into a linear equation? It's because time can be proved to be orthogonal with space. But now you have to be careful. Orthogonality only occurs, we thought, between linear quantities because it's a right angle, correct? So time is at a right angle to space. That is true the way he did it. But when you take it apart, time has been artificially linearized. What is actually meant by time is frequency. That is time. And therefore time is one of the two derivative quantities of energy. Because energy, we just proved, is a spheric quantity. Time is linear, and wavelength is linear. What nobody has realized is that form of linearity is incorrect. It can be done mathematically, but you'll miss the actual geometric relationship between frequency and wavelength. They're reciprocal. So energy is a spheric number for that reason. And that will be enough because it's getting hot. We're still in the middle of a heat wave. Thank you for your patience. I hope you enjoyed that thus far. May the great invisible one bless you with the insights that you need. No man can share his understanding with another unless they speak the same language. I leave you with that thought. Until next time, this is Anagalactic bringing you the secrets of the universe, and we're entering an election year. You're going to see the name Drake Sterling, my handle, popping up. This is Hunter S. Thompson, broadcasting to you from a remote location in California. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.